So, should you date your money? Well, when couples are having problems, marriage counselors will always say, why don't you go back to dating each other? What did you do when you first met? How did you show appreciation? How did you act? What did you do? Maybe sometimes when we're having trouble with our money and we're having a bad relationship with it, we need to get back to dating our money. Hello and welcome back, Gen X fam, and all those who want to learn from our wisdom. We just passed the romance holiday, Valentine's Day. So a lot of people were giving extra special attention to that special someone, that romantic partner in their lives. So I was thinking about that. I was thinking about relationships. And I was thinking about how if your relationship with people, which I've said this before, if your relationship with people can be affected by how you interact with them, and I've already established how you need to have a healthy relationship with your money, then I ask myself this question: should you be dating your money? And the reason why I ask that question is one of the things that I have made a practice of, because I have had my difficulties in this area of romantic relationships. I always take the opportunity to speak to older couples when I see them. And I ask them two questions. First, I ask them, how long have you been together? And then the next thing I ask them is, what would you say is the number one reason for the success of your relationship? And I've gotten a variety of responses from them, and I always take them to heart. So now, if they recognize that there are certain key elements to making their personal relationship successful, then there's gotta be key elements that are similar that makes our relationship with money successful. So I gave it some thought, and I wrote down a few things. And I said to myself, well, how does this real life relationship advice correlate to having success in your relationship with your money? And I came up with 5 things. So, number one answer I got from people, these older couples, when I asked them what was the key to success in their relationships, was to practice good communication. That's the root of everything. And I know that when things would go south in my relationships, it was always because we were not communicating. Either we were just not talking, period, or we were shouting rather than listening to and talking with each other. So how do you bring that into play with your money? Well, listen carefully when your money speaks, because it's always telling you something. It's either telling you that it's happy and content, or it's telling you that it needs something. And the thing that it needs is going to be one of two things. Either it's telling you it needs more of itself, it needs to be more, or it's telling you that it needs better direction on where this relationship is going. So, very much just like your real relationship with a person, your relationship with your money requires good communication. What that means is you have to give thought to what your money is telling you. Look at it. Is it showing up consistently every month and there's too much month at the end of your money? Then it's telling you, I need more money. If your money is running out and disappearing and you don't know where it's going, and you just can't seem to get a handle on what's going on, then find out what's happening. Look into where it's going. Communicate with it. Let it know also what your expectations are. How do you do that? Well, you give it direction in the form of a budget or a spending plan, however you want to approach that. So, good communication means not only conveying what your expectations are for your money, but also letting your money know that it's important to you and you're going to put in the proper time to help it be all it can be. In other words, that you care about it. And just like with a person, if you show that you care about it by communicating with it effectively, then it will stick around and it will love to stay with you and grow with you. So now, what's the next thing that I've gotten from these successful older couples in their relationships? Show gratitude and appreciation for the person. A lot of times in our romantic relationships, we tend to focus on what's bad, like what's not going right. And if that's all we focus on, then that's all we're going to see, and we're going to magnify it and get more of it in our minds. With our money, it's the same thing. If you are constantly complaining about the fact that, oh, I got to spend money on this bill, and every time I get money in one hand, it seems to go out of the other one, then you're being resentful about the money, and you're not really appreciating what it is doing. For instance, if you have bills and you have money to pay those bills, and those bills that you're paying the money on is giving you transportation, it's giving you a roof over your head, it's giving you food to eat, it's giving you lights, internet, heat, air conditioning, all of those things, then the money is actually providing a good function in your life. And so you can, rather than complain about the bills that you have, you can show appreciation in this way. When it's time to pay a bill, express gratitude to the money that you have it here to pay the bill. Because if the money wasn't there, period, you'd either be sitting in the darkness, you'd have no phone, you'd have no transportation, you'd have no shelter, you'd be homeless on the street. So there's a lot of things that the money provides. Showing gratitude for those things really focuses your mind on what you have. And when you focus your mind on what you have and you show appreciation for it, more of it tends to show up in your life. So just like a person, when you show appreciation for them, they know that you care about them and appreciate them in your life, so they tend to stick around more. Same thing with your money. If you're giving off negative energy, that you're resentful about it, that it's not really doing what you need it to do, it's going to leave and go where it's appreciated, into somebody else's pocket. But if you continually show appreciation for it, it's going to stick around. And that is one of the key ways of building your relationship with your money. Now, what's the next thing that I've learned from these successful older couples? Be forgiving. How many times do relationships go sour because one or both of the parties involved in a relationship won't let go of some perceived wrong? They hold resentment, they replay it in their mind over and over again, and then eventually it just gets to the point where no matter what that person does, they just will not see any good in them because they're still holding on to the fact that, no, you didn't say hi to me when you saw me the other day, or you left your drawers on the floor, or you didn't do the dishes. And so this one little thing becomes such a huge thing that it blocks you from having any kind of good, positive relationship with that person. It's the same thing with your money. We can get an attitude, so to speak, with our money and with finances. And so we get to the point where we're like, I'm sick of this. I don't want to deal with this. Money's a rigged game. It's only for rich people. I can't win. I've just had nothing but bad experiences, and everybody around me seems to have bad experiences. So I'm just going to get an attitude with money, and we're not going to be friends anymore. Where will that get you? Again, if you have an attitude with your money, it's not going to have a good relationship with you, is it? So you need to be forgiving in two ways. Number one, you need to stop blaming money for what's going wrong in your life. Money is an inanimate object. It is a tool. It is not in control of what happens in your life with it. You have to recognize that you're in total control. So it's the way you communicate with it, it's the way you treat it, it's the direction that you give it that determines how it shows up and performs in your life. So don't be resentful with money. Money's not evil, money's not bad. It can't act on its own one way or another. So begin to appreciate money for what it is. It's a resource, it's a tool that when used the right way can produce astounding results in your life. Now, what's next on the forgiveness front? We need to forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we have made with money. We can let one bad decision, one horrible season stick with us for so long, and we're so angry with ourselves and we're blaming ourselves because we're saying, I was so stupid, I should have known better, I've been there, why did I do such a dumb thing, I can't ever get this right, and I give up. No, don't do that. We all make mistakes. So there comes a point in time where not only do we have to be forgiving of others in a regular relationship, we also have to forgive ourselves. I know where I've made mistakes in previous romantic relationships, and I used to just say to myself, how could you do that? Why did you get that wrong? You should have known better. Maybe not. Maybe I hadn't lived long enough or had enough experience and gathered enough knowledge to know what I should or should not have been doing. And even if I did make a mistake, I know I had the best of intentions. So I just didn't have enough knowledge, I didn't have enough wisdom, and I maybe didn't have enough appreciation for what was really going on. It's the same with your money. When you know better, you do better. So give yourself a pass. Show yourself some grace. Forgive yourself for the previous mistakes you've made with your money and move on. Just be determined to do better and not make the mistakes of the past. Okay, what's the next thing I've learned from successful couples that I've talked to? They say that they spend quality time with each other. So what does that look like? They're actually sitting down, spending time to talk. They're having fun with each other. They're being intentional about spending quality time in the form of date nights. So if you look at these couples, you'll see them walking down the street, they're holding hands, they're going maybe just to take a walk, maybe they're going to the store together, maybe they're going to a movie, going to a play, going to a concert. I've come across couples like that in all kinds of settings. But the thing about it is, they're spending that quality time together. One of the advices that marriage counselors will give in this day and age is with the hectic schedules that we have, when there's a two income dynamic going on in the household and you're always running and one may be coming, the other one may be going. It's important that you be intentional about date nights. So you set aside a specific time on the calendar where you are going to spend quality time, and you decide what you're going to do. Are we going to Netflix and chill? Are we going to go to a movie? Are we going to plan a little mini vacation, a getaway where it's just the two of us spending time together? Those check-in times, those connection times strengthen the bonds of a real relationship. How do we apply that with our money? You need to have date nights with your money. And I would recommend you have monthly date nights with your money. So what does that look like? Well, once a month, you take time to sit down with your money and look at what happened over the previous month. Where did the money go? What did it do? What did you do? Did you overspend in a particular area that you need to tighten up and show more discipline at? Did you underspend and maybe neglect yourself, maybe in the area of self-care, because you were so afraid to spend money that even though you allotted money for a particular area like personal care or entertainment, you just didn't spend the money? Sit down, evaluate, and see how you can do better. And the only way to do that is to just have these brief date nights with your money where you check in, see how your spending plan performed over the past month, look at what's coming in the coming month, and then make a new plan. Forget about whether or not what you did in the past month was smart, dumb, or whatever. Just take the lessons learned, be forgiving, and apply what you learned and move forward and do better the next month. Just strive to be 1% better. Maybe you can earn a little more. Maybe you can spend a little more. Maybe you can spend a little more efficiently. Maybe you can save a little more. These are all things that when you sit down and you spend the time with your money to evaluate your performance, you gain. Because what doesn't get measured doesn't uncover areas of where you need to commend yourself or areas of where you need to improve. So have monthly date nights with your money in the form of money meetings where you review your performance and then plan for the next month. And also check in with your money on a day-to-day basis too, because like I say, I open up my money app every day and I see what's in my account. Why? Because we live in an age of identity theft, scams, fraud, and somebody can clean you out, and if you're not paying attention, it'll all be gone and you won't find out until a week or two later. So give proper time to your money. Show it that you care and it will stick around. All right. What's the fifth thing I've heard from successfully long-time married couples? They have shared goals and they work towards them together. Now, that's not to say that they give up themselves independently, because maybe the guy might have a goal of, I want to do better, I want to get my handicap down in golf. Or the woman might have a goal of, I want to learn how to play a particular instrument, or I want to craft something better, or I want to learn a second language. Or the guy might say, you know what? I've always wanted to know how to strip down an engine and rebuild it, and that's just something that he wants to do. And those paths can cross. Maybe the guy wants to be a good cook, and the woman wants to learn how to better take care of her own car. The idea is they may have independent goals, but they also have shared goals. What are some shared goals that a married couple might have? Maybe it's saving for epic vacation. Maybe it's saving for an epic retirement. Maybe it's planning for a great purchase of a home, because maybe they've been renting for a long time, or maybe they have a starter home that they're really not happy with, and they've always wanted a better place to live, maybe a better neighborhood, maybe a more up-to-date home. Maybe the goal might be to renovate the home that they're in. But these are goals that they have in common, that they work towards, and when they work towards them, it bonds them together, and it strengthens them, so that they're in tune with each other and they're in harmony with each other. Now, how do you apply that to your money? Well, here's what you do. You lay out clearly what your life vision is, what your goals are. And then you look at your money, you look at your cash coming in, you look at your cash going out, you look at the assets that you may have, you look at the liabilities that you may have, and then you set goals. Maybe your goal might be to buy a new car or to buy a new home, but you've got toxic debt. You've been swiping the credit card too much. You've been impulse buying. Maybe you've accumulated some other debts over time, like student loans or something else, and the payments on those are dragging you down and sapping you of your margin, so that you don't have the ability to get to the particular goal that you may have, which, if it's buying a home, you need the down payment, you need your contingency fund, you need other savings in place like an emergency fund. All of these things I've talked about when it comes to buying a home, and you just can't get there because you're spending too much money every month on these payments. So a good goal might be, I need to get debt free. You need to get consumer debt free. Dump that toxic debt. So what's the goal? Well, I'm going to set up my debt snowball. I'm going to set up all my minimum payments, but then I'm going to squeeze out every dollar I can toward my debt snowball, and then see how much more I can bring in extra to actually add to my debt snowball and get out of debt as quickly as possible. Now you've got a goal that you can direct your money towards and work in harmony with, so that you're actually building a stronger relationship with your money. Yes. Because now it's serving a purpose. It's getting direction. It's getting you to a specific place that you want to be, and you appreciate it more, because as you knock down those goals, you gain a better appreciation for the funds that you have. You get more skilled at managing it, and you draw closer in your relationship with your money. You build a healthier, better relationship. So, should you date your money? Well, when couples are having problems, marriage counselors will always say, why don't you go back to dating each other? What did you do when you first met? How did you show appreciation? How did you act? What did you do? Maybe sometimes when we're having trouble with our money and we're having a bad relationship with it, we need to get back to dating our money. And that means doing those things that I just outlined, so that you can have a healthier, happier relationship with it. When you appreciate it more, it will feel that, and it'll stick around and grow and be happy. Okay, you've just seen my special video on dating your money. Should you date your money? It's kind of tongue-in-cheek, but for real, y'all. If you could do better with your relationship with money, maybe you need to get back to dating your money, but finding out, how do I do that? Scheduling a free strategy session with me is the perfect way to find out how to get better at managing your money and having a better relationship with it. In our session, I will help you to uncover what your past experiences with money were, where you may have gone wrong, and what you need to do better. It's been eye-opening for so many, and I've been able to help lots and lots of people. So, if that's something that you feel you could benefit from, please don't hesitate. Contact me through DM or go to my website at intentionalmoneysolutions.com and schedule free time with me right there near the top. Another thing you can do is you can join the rest of us in Money Hero Academy who are meeting weekly to see how we can have real conversations around money, develop better communication with it, spend more quality time with it, have better goals for it, and have a happier relationship in general with our money. Money Hero Academy meets weekly where we have these discussions. We learn how to grow our relationship with our money and thus grow the quality of our lives, because money facilitates the doing of so many things, just like any other tool does. All right, guys, that's it for this episode. You have a great day and a fantastic week, and I will see you again soon.